All right, welcome back. If you have been tuned into with us on Instagram, our Substack, which is free, we are talking this week about watering and the importance of watering correctly and understanding what plants need the right watering schedules, all of that. We're going to touch base. Today, we're going to bring what I've been writing into real life form. Watering is a key essential to your plant's growth and life expectancy. It's very important that you are watering your plants correctly, meaning your schedule. Getting the right schedule is super important for many reasons because you can either one be overwatering, underwatering, and it's just either way you're just a plant killer, and that's not what you want to be. First of all, it's very important to know your environment. Do you have a very dry home? Is your home tend to be humid because you might have wooden concrete walls? Who knows? I don't know what your house is like. You know what your house is like. So when you understand that, that's also going to give you a better understanding on how often you need to water. So if your house is a little bit drier, you've got a lot of airflow coming, your soil is going to dry out a little faster. If it's very humid, it's very muggy in the house, maybe because you live in a very high humidity area, then that's what your plant is also going to get. So you need to know those two differences. Another thing that's very important is understanding that certain plants in certain pots can also determine what your watering schedule is like. The larger the pot and the bigger the pot that you are getting with your plant, the less often you will have to water it in a sense, meaning you can stretch it out about a few days, maybe even weeks, depending on your plant. But when it's smaller, the soil and all of that is drying out faster. Another thing that I think that's just the main question that I get all the time when people are asking about watering is, well, how much do I water? And that question always kind of makes me laugh because it's like when you have a small 4-inch plant, like I have right here, this is a small 4-inch plant. I'm not going to give it a gallon of water. So we really need, I always try to tell people, like, use your head for a second, engage. Most of your pots, planters, all of that will have a drain hole. So I always tell people, if you don't have a saucer, take your plant to the sink and then start to water until you see water come out the drain holes. That means that you have fully saturated your pot. And that is so important because when you fully saturate the pot, that means all the roots are receiving water. When you only water halfway, the roots have nowhere to go. Nothing's reaching, so the roots just start to dry out. And the roots up top are the only ones getting it. Nothing's getting it at the bottom. You're now stunting the growth of your plant because you only decided to water halfway. Another thing people like to do is like top off water and be like, oh, top it off with water like every day, every other day. Horrible. Very, very horrible. Don't ever do that. Stick to a nice schedule once a week, once every 9 days, once every 10 days. Give it a full water, meaning you hitting all the corners, go around, do the whole nine. I will show you a video of how we're going to properly water our plant. But it's just so important that you're getting around. If you go to one side, all those roots are living, the other side's roots are not living. So that's why it's so important to fully saturate your pot. This gets a little bit, it's not too necessary, but I always, because of the times and how the world is, I just tell people to water with filtered water. It doesn't have to be anything special. Depending on the city that you live in, on the environment that you live in, they are putting harsh chemicals in our water. And if we can't drink it, to be honest, our plants should not be drinking it. They don't deserve those harsh chemicals either. So I try to keep it to a very filtered situation, or at least, breaking it down, because these harsh chemicals that are put into our filter or into the regular tap water can cause some yellowing or some browning of the leaves. So, with that, it can make you think that something might possibly be wrong with your plant. And the small solution to that problem is just doing filtered water. It doesn't have to be the most best of the best Brita filter bottle, whatever. Give it a little, let it sit out for a little bit, stuff like that is what will help your plant when you are watering. I said before, another thing to when it comes to watering schedules is knowing your plant. Sometimes majority of the plants that we need don't need water as often as we think we need. For example, cacti and succulents, they naturally store water. So they are in a desert climate. They are used to being in these high sun, deserty climates and barely getting any water because when does it rain in the desert? So they are used to storing it. They're still going to do that when they're in here in your house or, anywhere of that sort. So watering once a month. Water once a month. Same with your ZZs as well. Those bulbs, the ZZ bulbs that you see peeking out the soil sometimes and you think, oh my God, what's going on? That's just the ZZ storing water. And so with those as well, you can water once a month. Okay, these were just some plant watering tips that I wanted to give you guys, especially now that we're shifting seasons as well. So now that we are no longer in the summertime when it's hotter, more dry, or whatever it may be, we're going into the fall, which then leads into winter. And believe it or not, our plants do go into hibernation, meaning they are going to grow slower during these seasons, which means you don't have to water as often. So feel free now during the fall and the winter to keep a close eye on those plants and be sure to stretch out an extra day or two if you need to and properly saturate those pots.